You know this feeling. The tight chest before emails. The quiet dread when the alarm rings. The way your mind starts sprinting before your feet touch the floor. Bills wait. Deadlines wait. People want replies. The day feels heavy before it even begins. On the train, in the car, or at the kitchen table, you scroll. News that scares you. Lives that look better than yours. Advice that contradicts itself. Your stomach knots. You tell yourself to push through. Work harder. Be stronger. Smile more. But inside you whisper, is this all there is? By lunch, your jaw aches. By evening, your back aches. By night, your heart aches. You lie in the dark and bargain with tomorrow. If I finish more, if they respect me, if I finally get ahead, then I will rest. Then I will breathe. Peace becomes a prize you never quite reach. This is not a personal failure. This is the human condition under pressure. We live in an age of noise, speed, and comparison. We chase control and security, yet feel more fragile than ever. We want certainty in a world that keeps changing. We want love in a culture that sells performance. We want meaning in a schedule that leaves no room to listen. But there is another path. Not a fantasy. Not a quick fix. A usable path you can walk in ordinary life. A path that begins not by rearranging the whole world, but by changing the way you relate to the world. It starts inside, where your attention lives, where your breath moves, where your choices are made. This series offers that path. Over the next chapters, you will learn simple, grounded practices. You will learn how to meet stress without collapsing under it. How to see the stories your mind tells and gently step out of them. How to soften the harsh voice within and choose a kinder one. How to find a steady center while life keeps moving around you. We will speak plainly. No jargon, no complicated theories. Only images and stories you can feel. We will talk about the endless cycle of suffering, the loop many of us know too well, and how to loosen its hold. We will practice attention, compassion, and balance in ways that fit a busy job, a family, and a real budget. If you stay with this journey, you will leave with tools you can use the same day. A 1-minute breathing reset you can do at your desk. A question that calms spiraling thoughts. A way to turn self-criticism into honest care. A practical approach to boundaries that protects your time and your heart. Most of all, you will leave with a new relationship to your own experience. You will learn to stand in the eye of the storm and see clearly. You will learn to act with courage without burning out. You will learn to rest without guilt, not because life becomes perfect, but because you discover a peace that does not depend on perfection. Take a slow breath. Feel your feet. Notice that you are here. You do not have to earn the right to be calm. You do not have to wait for a perfect moment. You can begin now. In the next chapter, we will name the pain honestly, and we will point to a promise just as honest. The pain is real. The promise is real. Are you ready to walk toward both? Imagine waking up on a Monday morning in America. The alarm clock cuts through the silence at 6 a.m. A sound so sharp it feels like it pierces your bones. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is already racing. Bills, deadlines, messages. The phone buzzes on the nightstand, glowing with emails that came in overnight. A boss demanding updates. A bank notification reminding you of debt. Social media filled with lives that look more beautiful, more successful, more fulfilled than yours. You haven't even brushed your teeth, and already the weight of the day has landed on your shoulders. You take a deep breath, but it doesn't help. The pressure is relentless. Traffic waits outside, endless lines of red brake lights. At work, you sit in front of a glowing screen for hours, juggling tasks that never seem to end, chasing approval that never quite arrives. Even when the day is over, your mind does not rest. The body is tired, but the mind is still sprinting. Lying in bed at night, you stare at the ceiling, asking quietly, is this it? Is this all there is to life? This silent question, whispered in millions of bedrooms across the world, is the pain we all share. It's the ache of modern existence, stress, anxiety, loneliness, and the gnawing feeling that no matter how much we do, it is never enough. We are exhausted not only by what life demands of us, but by the endless internal fight against reality itself. We want life to be different. We want people to treat us better. We want our circumstances to finally be good enough for us to rest. But somehow, peace keeps slipping away, just out of reach. Pause here. Take a moment to recognize this truth in your own life. The sense that you are running a race without a finish line. That you are carrying a weight you cannot put down. That every time you think you are close to peace, something new appears to take it away. This is not just your struggle. It is the human struggle. And yet here is the astonishing revolutionary promise. The struggle is not permanent. The heaviness you carry is not a life sentence. You don't need to endlessly rearrange your external world to find peace. The doorway to freedom is much closer than you think. It is not out there. It is within. This might sound too simple at first. We've been taught our whole lives that happiness depends on fixing circumstances. A better job, a better relationship, a better body, a bigger bank account. But what if the truth is different? What if freedom comes not from controlling the storm outside, but from discovering the calm center within? Imagine that possibility. Imagine a life where peace is not fragile, not dependent on perfect conditions, but steady, unshakable, like a mountain that remains grounded even while clouds pass overhead. This is the promise that ancient wisdom whispers to us. And it is not abstract, not just philosophy written in dusty books. It is alive. It is available here and now. It says, you are not broken. You are not condemned to live in anxiety forever. You can learn to see differently, to live differently, to suffer less. Think of it like carrying a heavy backpack every day without realizing that you have the power to set it down. That backpack is filled with endless expectations, comparisons, judgments, fears. You've carried it so long, it feels like part of your body. But the truth is, you can put it down. You can walk lighter. You can breathe deeper. You can return to something inside you that has always been whole, always been untouched by the chaos of the world. Let's be clear, this is not about denial. It is not pretending that pain doesn't exist or that life isn't hard. Bills will still come. People will still disappoint us. Our bodies will still age. But what changes is our relationship to all of it. Instead of being crushed under the weight of life, we discover a way to walk with it, free, open, and strong. You may be wondering, how? How can something so deep, so painful, be transformed? The answer begins not with more struggle, not with more self-criticism, but with understanding. By seeing clearly the patterns that keep us trapped, we begin to loosen their grip. By learning the wisdom that humans have carried for thousands of years, we find that we are not alone and that solutions already exist. This wisdom, which has traveled across time and culture, is the same wisdom the Buddha discovered beneath the Bodhi tree more than 2 millennia ago. But you don't need to become a monk or move to a monastery to touch it. You can find it right here, in the middle of your busy, messy, modern life. Picture this: a person sitting at a bus stop, exhausted from a day's work. Around them, the noise of traffic, horns blaring, conversations spilling onto the street. Yet within, they discover a breath of stillness. Just one conscious inhale, one slow exhale. In that moment, nothing outside has changed, but everything inside feels different. The storm still rages, but they have found the calm eye of it. This is the beginning. This is the seed of the promise. The realization that suffering is not absolute, that even in the middle of chaos, freedom's possible. And so, as we begin this journey together, I invite you to hold two truths side by side. The first, the pain is real. Life can be brutally difficult, and no amount of sugarcoating can erase that. But the second, the promise is also real. There is another way to live, a way that does not deny hardship, but transforms it into a doorway to wisdom, compassion, and deep peace. This chapter, The Pain and the Promise, is not about giving you quick fixes or shallow motivation. It is about opening a door. It is about planting a seed of hope inside your heart, a seed that can grow into something vast and unshakable. And as we walk forward together, story by story, metaphor by metaphor, you will begin to see not just with your eyes, but with a deeper vision that you are capable of freedom right here, right now. Let's continue with the picture we left, a life that feels like a constant race. You may think this race is just your personal burden, but pause for a moment. Look around. In every city, in every office building, in every home, people are carrying the same hidden weight. Mothers scrolling through bills at midnight. Fathers wondering how to keep their families afloat. Young professionals smiling on Instagram while quietly drowning in loneliness. College students chasing grades and approval, wondering if they will ever be good enough. This pain is universal. It is not you alone, it is the human story. But here's the twist. Even though the suffering is shared, so is the solution. For centuries, people across cultures have asked the same questions you are asking now. Why do we suffer? Is there another way? And in that asking, some have discovered a truth so powerful. It still echoes thousands of years later. The Buddha was one of them. But his message was never meant only for monks or philosophers. It was meant for people like you, ordinary people living ordinary lives, with jobs, families, and bills to pay. His insight was radical, not because it promised escape from life, but because it showed how to live within life, fully and freely. Think of it like this. Suffering is like being lost in a forest. The trees are dense, the shadows are deep, and every path looks uncertain. For most of us, we wander in circles, bumping into the same fears, the same disappointments, the same cravings again and again. What the Buddha offered was not a new forest, not a magical rescue, but a map. A way to see clearly, a way to walk differently, a way to stop wandering in circles and begin moving toward freedom. But let's stay practical. What does this mean for you right now? It means you don't have to wait for the perfect job, the perfect partner, or the perfect moment to feel peace. You can begin today, even in the middle of your messy life. Peace is not something you earn later. It is something you uncover now. Like sunlight hidden behind clouds, it has always been there, waiting for you to notice it. Take your breath, for example. You have carried it with you since the moment you were born. But how often do you truly pay attention to it? Each inhale, each exhale is a reminder. You are alive. You are here. In the chaos of thoughts and responsibilities, your breath is a quiet anchor. Returning to it for just a few seconds can shift the entire texture of your day. That small act is not trivial, it is the doorway to freedom. Because if you can choose to return to your breath, you can also choose how to meet the storms of your life. Now imagine this in practice. You are sitting in traffic, heart pounding, late for an appointment. Normally, the mind spins. Why is this happening? I can't believe it. I'll be punished for this. Everything is ruined. But if you pause, if you breathe, the experience changes. The traffic is still there. The delay is still real, but your suffering lessens. Instead of being dragged under by the current, you are standing on the bank, watching the water flow. This is the first taste of freedom. The realization that pain is inevitable, But suffering is optional. The promise deepens when you understand this. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotions. They rise and fall like waves, but you are the ocean itself, vast, deep, untouched at the core. When stress rises, when fear shouts, when anger burns, you can remember, this is just weather passing through. It feels powerful, but it cannot define who you are. Beneath it all, you remain whole, clear, and luminous. Some traditions call this your Buddha nature. You don't need to manufacture it. You only need to recognize it. This recognition is not instant. It is not about forcing yourself to be positive or to pretend you don't hurt. It is about practicing a new way of seeing. Like learning a language or playing an instrument, it takes time. But every small step matters. Every moment of awareness plants a seed, and those seeds grow into resilience, compassion, and clarity. Let's be honest, the modern world will not make this easy. Companies profit from your distraction. Social media thrives on your comparison. Advertising whispers that you are never enough until you buy one more thing. If you wait for the world to encourage your peace, you will wait forever. That is why the promise of this path is so radical, it gives you the power back. You are no longer a victim of the world's noise. You become a participant, a creator of your own experience. You stop asking, when will life calm down? And instead ask, how can I meet life with calm right now? Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The winds are strong, the rain is fierce, the lightning cracks across the sky. Most people fight against it, shouting at the wind, demanding it stop. But what if you simply stood still, breathing, knowing that the storm will pass? You don't need to control the weather to survive it. You only need to trust the sky beyond the clouds. That sky is your true self, spacious, unbroken, luminous. And the storm, no matter how fierce, cannot damage it. This is the promise. Peace is possible, here and now. Not when your life becomes perfect, but in the middle of its imperfections. Not after you fix every problem, but while problems remain unsolved. Not far away in some distant future, but in this very moment, if you know how to look. As we close this chapter, I invite you to carry one simple practice with you. When the weight of life presses hard, pause. Place a hand on your chest. Feel your breath. Whisper gently to yourself, this moment is enough. I am enough. It may feel small, but it is the beginning of something vast. Because from that small seed grows the entire forest of freedom. The pain is real, but so is the promise. The rest of this journey will show you, step by step, how to move from one to the other, not by escaping life, but by finally living it fully, freely, and with compassion. Think about how much of your life revolves around protecting and improving this thing you call me. You wake up and instantly check the mirror. You worry if you look tired, if you seem attractive enough, if people will approve of you today. Throughout the day, every interaction, every glance, every comment feels like it's measured against your fragile sense of self. If someone praises you, you feel lifted. If someone criticizes you, you feel crushed. It is as if you are carrying a glass statue around, terrified it might shatter at the slightest touch. But here's a shocking truth. That self you are protecting so fiercely is not as solid as it seems. In fact, it may not exist in the way you think it does at all. The Buddha called it an illusion, not because you don't exist, but because the fixed, unchanging I, the one you constantly defend, is a mental construction. It is like a story your mind tells itself over and over until you believe it is real. Pause and reflect. Who are you, really? Are you your body? But your body has been changing since the day you were born. The cells of your skin renew every few weeks. Your blood refreshes. Even your bones, solid as they seem, are constantly breaking down and rebuilding. The you who existed 10 years ago is not the same you who sits here now. The body is not fixed. It is a flowing process, Dot, so maybe you are your mind. But your thoughts change every second. Yesterday, you were convinced of one thing. Today, you may think differently. And tomorrow, you may laugh at both. Your moods rise and fall like the weather. Anger comes, then passes. Joy comes, then passes. Sadness, excitement, fear, relief, all of them appear. Stay for a while, then leave. If you were truly any one of these, you would be stuck in it forever. But you are not. You are the one who experiences these passing states. The I is not solid. It is like a stream, never still, never the same twice. This realization can feel unsettling at first. We spend our whole lives building an identity. Our job title, our achievements, our failures, our style, our opinions. We say, this is who I am. But what if that is only a mask? What if underneath you are something far larger, far freer than the little character your mind defends? Consider water flowing in a river. You can point to the stream and say, this is the river. But the water you point to now will not be the water you point to a moment later. It is always moving, always changing, yet we still call it the same river. In the same way, we call this shifting bundle of thoughts, feelings, and sensations me. But like the river, it is never fixed. It is an ever-changing process. And here lies the freedom. If the I is not fixed, then you are not trapped by your past. You are not doomed to repeat the same mistakes. You are not locked inside a single identity. You can grow. You can let go. You can begin again. In every moment, think about how much pressure falls away when you realize this. The social demand to always be good enough starts to dissolve. The fear of not measuring up, the shame of past failures, the anxiety of future judgment, all of it loosens when you understand that the self you're protecting is not a permanent monument. It is a story. And stories can be told differently. Imagine someone insults you. Normally, the mind leaps to defend. How dare they? They don't know me. I'll prove them wrong. But if you see clearly that the me being attacked is just a temporary arrangement of thoughts and memories, the insult loses its grip. It doesn't mean you become passive or weak. It means you are free. You no longer need to spend your energy polishing the statue of I. Instead, you can live directly, honestly, without fear of cracks. Let's take an everyday example. A young professional spends hours crafting their online image. Every photo carefully chosen, every caption filtered, every post designed to impress. The pressure is immense because they believe their worth depends on how others perceive this image. But when they begin to see the illusion that the image is not the real self, they feel lighter. They can share with more authenticity. They can laugh at imperfections. They can rest from the exhausting project of managing appearances. The illusion of I also explains why we often feel disconnected from others. We believe in separate, isolated selves, me here, you there. We think our suffering is private, our struggles unique. But when we loosen the grip of I, we begin to see the truth. We are all flowing processes, constantly changing, constantly interwoven. Just as no single wave is separate from the ocean, no single person is separate from the web of life. When you see this, compassion arises naturally. You realize, if my I is not solid, neither is yours. We are not two separate monuments colliding. We are two streams meeting, two clouds drifting, two moments of the same living universe. This is not just philosophy. It is medicine. Because when the illusion of I softens, suffering softens too. The harsh voice inside, the one that says you are not enough, that you must prove yourself endlessly, loses authority. You begin to laugh at it, gently, kindly. You see it as just another passing cloud in the sky of awareness. And in that laughter, in that kindness, you taste freedom. Let's continue where we left off. The illusion of a solid, permanent I does not just cause stress, it fuels almost every form of human suffering. Think about how much pain comes from comparison. You scroll through social media and see someone with a bigger house, a better vacation, a happier family. Instantly, the thought arises, why not me? What's wrong with me? That sting of envy is built on the belief in a fixed self that must measure up, that must prove its worth. But if you see the self as fluid, as a stream constantly moving, comparison loses its sharp edge. Why? Because there is no permanent I that must compete. Your life is not a static picture against someone else's picture. It is a living process, unfolding uniquely. Their story and your story are simply different, rivers flowing to the same sea. The illusion of I also keeps us trapped in the past. You remember a mistake of failure at work, a broken relationship, a shameful decision, and you say, that's who I am. I am the one who failed. I am the one who hurt others. I am the one who disappointed. You build a prison out of memory. But look closely. The person who made that mistake no longer exists. They are gone, like last year's river water. You are new in this moment. You are not bound by the old self. When you understand this, forgiveness becomes possible, not only for others, but for yourself. Think also about the future. The illusion of I projects itself forward, constantly worrying. What will happen to me? What if I lose everything? What if I am not successful enough? This imagined self built from fear and fantasy robs you of the present. Yet when you see through the illusion, the future I softens too. You don't have to live 1,000 possible failures before they even arrive. You can live here, now, in the only moment that is real. Let's ground this in a practical image. Imagine holding a handful of sand and insisting that every grain must stay in place. You clench your fist tighter and tighter, desperate not to lose anything. But the tighter you hold, the more sand slips away. This is what happens when you cling to the illusion of I. You grip identity, possessions, opinions, roles. Yet life is movement. Everything changes. And the more you resist, the more painful it feels. But open your hand, let the sand rest lightly, and suddenly it is easier. You enjoy what is here without fear of loss. This is not detachment in a cold way. It is freedom in a warm, compassionate way. Another story. A man loses his job after 20 years at the same company. He feels destroyed. He says, if I am not my work, then who am I? For months, he spirals into despair because his identity was fused with his title. But slowly, with support, he begins to see he is more than a job. He is a father, a friend, a learner, a human being with countless possibilities. The loss of one role, painful as it is, does not erase his existence. It opens space for a new chapter. This is the power of seeing through the illusion of a fixed self. It allows us to adapt, to bend without breaking. The Buddha once described the self as a chariot. A chariot is made of wheels, an axle, a frame, reins, a yoke. Put together, we call it chariot. But take it apart, and there is no single piece that is the chariot. In the same way, what we call I is made of body, feelings, thoughts, consciousness, all moving parts. Together, they create the appearance of a solid self. But when you look carefully, there is no single, permanent I to be found. Seeing this does not erase you. It frees you. It means you are not a rigid object, but a living process. This freedom has another gift, compassion. When you stop clinging to a hard, separate I, you begin to feel softer toward others. You see their anger not as who they are, but as passing weather. You see their mistakes not as permanent flaws, but as temporary states. Just as you are more than your worst moment, so are they. This vision dissolves judgment and opens the heart. Picture two strangers arguing in traffic. Each clings fiercely to their ego. I am right, you are wrong. I am important, you are nothing. Their anger boils. But if even one of them sees through the illusion, the fight collapses. Because what is left to defend when you know the I is just a story? Instead of fighting, there is space to smile, to let go, to drive away lighter. This is not weakness. In fact, it is strength. To live without being enslaved by the illusion of I is the deepest courage. It means you are no longer controlled by fear of failure or hunger for approval. You act not from ego, but from clarity. Your choices become freer, your relationships deeper, your life lighter. So here is the promise of this chapter. You do not have to keep defending the glass statue of I. You do not have to keep polishing, protecting, repairing something that was never solid to begin with. You can put down the armor. You can step into a larger identity, not the small, separate self, but the spacious awareness that holds every thought, every feeling, every role, and yet is not limited by any of them. Try this simple practice. The next time a strong emotion arises, pause and ask, who is angry? Who is afraid? Who is sad? Don't rush to answer. Just watch. You may notice that the feeling comes and goes on its own, without a solid owner. The I is not found. What remains is awareness itself, clear, open, boundless. And in that awareness, life feels different. The burdens grow lighter. The world feels softer. You realize you are not a fixed character trapped in a single story. You are the sky itself, vast and unbroken, with clouds drifting through. The I is the cloud. You are the sky. Pause for a moment and think about the word independence. In modern culture, especially in the West, we celebrate it fiercely. Independence means freedom. It means standing on your own, owing nothing to anyone. From childhood, we are taught to be self-sufficient, to achieve success by our own effort, to carry our burdens without leaning too heavily on others. The ideal image is of a strong individual, independent, self-made, untouchable. But if you look more deeply, you will see that this picture is not only incomplete, it is impossible. The truth is this: nothing in life exists alone. Not you, not me, not even a single flower. Everything that exists is supported by countless other conditions, woven together in an intricate, invisible web. This is the reality the Buddha called interdependence. And when you begin to see it clearly, something profound happens. The loneliness of being a separate self softens. The pressure of having to carry everything alone dissolves. In its place grows humility, gratitude, and an unexpected sense of belonging. Let's make this concrete. Imagine holding a simple apple in your hand. At first, you see only the apple itself, smooth skin, red or green, sweet flesh inside. But look closer. Within that apple is sunlight, which warmed the orchard. There is rain, which nourished the soil. There are clouds, which carried the rain. There is the farmer, whose hands tended the tree. There are bees, whose pollination made the fruit possible. There is the truck that carried it, the store that displayed it, the person who stocked the shelf. When you take a bite, you are tasting not just an apple, but the entire universe working together. The apple is not separate. It is a miracle of interwoven conditions. And so are you. Your body is built from food that came from the earth, from farmers, from rain, from sun. Your breath is possible because of trees and oceans. Your language exists because millions before you created words. Even your thoughts are shaped by the culture you live in, the teachers who taught you, the stories passed down through generations. The idea of a completely independent person is just that, an idea. In reality, you are a tapestry of countless threads, each one connecting you to something larger. This truth can change how we see ourselves. Many people suffer from the belief that they are alone in their struggle. No one understands me. I have to figure it all out by myself. But interdependence whispers a different story. You are never truly alone. Every smile you have ever received, every book you have ever read, every meal you have ever eaten is proof that countless lives touch yours. Even in your darkest moments, the network of life is holding you. This also changes how we see success. Modern culture says, I built this, I earned this, I did it myself. But the reality is softer, humbler. No one succeeds alone. Behind every achievement is a web of unseen support: parents, friends, teachers, colleagues, even strangers. When you acknowledge this, pride transforms into gratitude. And gratitude is powerful. It dissolves isolation, and it strengthens the bonds that sustain you. Think of a wave in the ocean. A wave may look separate, rising and falling on its own. But it is nothing without the ocean, the wind, the moon cooling the tides. Without them, the wave cannot exist. And when the wave falls back into the sea, nothing is lost. It was never separate to begin with. In the same way, your life is not isolated. You rise and fall within the vast ocean of existence. And when you remember this, the fear of being alone, the fear of being insignificant, begins to fade. Let's bring this to daily life. Imagine you are overwhelmed at work, buried under tasks, and you think, it's all on me. If I fail, everything collapses. That thought fuels panic. But if you pause and see interdependence, the story shifts. You realize this project exists because of a team. Others are contributing. Others will step in. You are not carrying the universe on your back. You are one part of a living system. This realization softens the burden and allows you to act with clarity instead of fear. Or think of family. Maybe you feel resentment. Why must I always take care of them? Why is it always me? But when you see interdependence, you realize they also shaped who you are. Their care, even if imperfect, made your survival possible. Their struggles mirror yours. This does not mean you accept unfairness or neglect your own needs. It means you see the deeper truth. No one stands alone. Your life and theirs are woven together. From that place, compassion becomes easier than resentment. The beauty of interdependence is that it reveals the hidden impact of kindness. When you smile at a stranger, you may think it is small, but maybe that stranger was having a hard day, and your smile gave them enough light to be gentle with their child when they got home. That child, feeling loved, grows more confident, and one day offers support to a friend in crisis. The ripple moves outward, unseen, but real. Every act of kindness strengthens the fabric that sustains not only others, but yourself. Because the network is shared, the love you give returns to you in countless ways. This principle also explains why harm rebounds. When we act with cruelty, dishonesty, or greed, we weaken the very web that holds us. We may not see the consequence immediately, but it comes back like an echo in a canyon. This is not superstition. It is the natural law of interdependence. When you poison the river, you cannot escape drinking from it. When you care for the river, you drink clean water. The web of life reflects everything we place in it. Pause here. Consider the relationships in your life. The people who irritate you, the people you admire, the people you barely notice. Each one is part of your story, just as you are part of theirs. You are not a single thread floating in isolation. You are a vital part of the tapestry. And when you remember this, humility blossoms. You no longer need to prove you are more important than others. You see that value does not come from standing apart, but from being deeply connected. This is the gift of interwoven reality. Belonging. You do not have to earn your place. You already belong, because you are already part of the web. The air you breathe, the ground you walk on, the food you eat, all of it says, you are included. You matter. Even when you feel invisible, the universe is holding you in ways you cannot see. Think of the moments in life when you felt most alive. Was it when you achieved something entirely alone, in isolation? Or was it when you felt connected singing with others, sharing a meal, watching a sunset with someone you love? If you look closely, the richest experiences are rarely about the isolated I. They are about the we, the laughter, the shared silence, the sense of being part of something larger. This is the essence of interwoven reality. We do not exist as separate islands. We are strands in a vast net, shimmering together. But because we forget this, suffering grows. Modern culture encourages us to compete, to compare, to imagine that success means standing above others. And so we feel alone in our struggle, threatened by others' achievements, terrified of falling behind. Yet when we remember interdependence, we see that another person's joy is not our loss. Their success can strengthen the whole fabric, which in turn supports us. Envy softens into admiration. Isolation softens into solidarity. Here's a simple exercise. Look around the room you are in right now. Every object carries a hidden network of lives. The chair you sit on was designed by someone, built by someone, transported by someone. The electricity powering your lamp comes from countless engineers, workers, and natural forces. Even the clothes you wear carry stories. Cotton picked by farmers, fabric woven in factories, hands that stitch the seams. You are never alone. You are always supported by unseen hands, by an invisible community stretching across the globe. This awareness can transform ordinary gratitude into something profound. Instead of saying, "I am grateful for my food," you can whisper, "I am grateful to the rain, the soil, the farmer, the driver, the cook, the countless beings who made this possible." Gratitude becomes not just an emotion, but a vision, a way of seeing the world as a vast circle of giving and receiving. There is another layer. Interdependence shows us that our well-being is bound up with the well-being of others. If the environment suffers, we suffer. If communities fracture, we fracture. This truth dissolves the illusion that we can thrive while others collapse. The pandemic reminded us of this. A virus spreading in one corner of the world touched lives everywhere. Borders, wealth, status, none of it could stop the truth of interconnection. The health of one is bound to the health of all. This reality can be uncomfortable. It means we cannot simply turn away from the suffering of others. Their pain will ripple into us eventually, just as our actions ripple into them. But it also means we hold incredible power. By choosing kindness, by choosing justice, by choosing care, we strengthen the very fabric that sustains us all. What helps others helps us. What harms others harms us. Think of a family. When one member is hurting, the whole family feels the tension. Healing one person brings relief to everyone. In the same way, humanity is a family. Our fates are interwoven. To heal ourselves without helping others is incomplete. To help others without tending to ourselves is also incomplete. True wisdom recognizes the circle and acts with balance. The Buddha once offered an image. Imagine a net stretching infinitely in all directions, with jewels at each intersection. Each jewel reflects all the others. This is how reality truly is. Every being reflecting, influencing, supporting every other being. When one shines, all are brighter. When one dims, all are affected. Seeing this changes how you move through the world. You no longer ask only, "What do I want?" You begin to ask, what strengthens the whole web? Because in strengthening it, you strengthen yourself. Let's apply this to a very ordinary example. You are in a grocery store. The cashier looks tired, overwhelmed by a long line of customers. You can ignore them, rush through, or you can look them in the eye and say sincerely, "Thank you." It seems small, but that gratitude may lighten their mood, which changes how they greet the next person, which ripples outward. You may never see the effects, but the web carries them. The kindness does not disappear. Now, imagine this on a larger scale. Communities where people practice generosity, patience, and compassion create an atmosphere of trust. Businesses where leaders understand interdependence prioritize not just profit, but the well-being of employees, customers, and the planet. Nations that recognize interconnection focus less on domination and more on cooperation. In each case, the awareness of interwoven reality reshapes decisions. And those decisions ripple far beyond what we can measure. The great gift of this truth is that it frees us from the crushing belief that we must do everything alone. Yes, you are responsible for your choices, but you are also held, supported, carried by countless others. This recognition is humbling, but it is also empowering. It means you can let go of the lonely burden of independence and step into the nourishing power of interdependence. Try this practice. The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask, who is helping me right now? Even if I cannot see them, notice the chair holding you up, the air filling your lungs, the countless beings who make your life possible. Then let gratitude rise. Feel how your shoulders soften, how your heart opens. You are not alone. You have never been alone. As we close this chapter, remember the wave and the ocean. You are a wave, unique in form, yet inseparable from the sea. You rise, you fall, you return. But at no point are you truly separate. The wave is the ocean is the wave. In the same way, you are the universe expressing itself in this moment. And that means you already belong. You always have. This is the wisdom of interwoven reality. To see that every breath, every smile, every tear is part of a vast tapestry. To know that your life is not a solitary thread, but a shimmering jewel in Indra's net. And when you see this, the loneliness eases, the fear softens, and a quiet strength arises, the strength of knowing you are home in the web of all things. Your mind is the most powerful artist in the universe. Every single day, from the moment you open your eyes, it paints reality. Two people can face the exact same event, say, being stuck in traffic on the highway. One person clenches the steering wheel, curses under their breath, feels their blood pressure rise. They see the situation as a personal attack. Why me? I can't stand this. The other person, in the very same line of cars, takes a deep breath, turns on music and says, here is a moment to pause, to reset, to enjoy a song. The same event, two completely different worlds. What changed? Not the traffic. The mind. Your mind colors neutral events with meaning. It decides what is a problem and what is an opportunity, what is unbearable and what is manageable. It is not exaggeration to say that most of our suffering does not come from events themselves, but from the stories our mind paints around them. Think about this. You spill coffee on your shirt before a meeting. Instantly, the mind begins its masterpiece. I look ridiculous. Everyone will think I'm careless. This day is ruined. Shame and anxiety rise, not because of the coffee, but because of the mental painting. Another person spills the same coffee and laughs. Well, there's my clumsy moment of the day, and moves on. The event itself is small, neutral. The painting makes it heavy or light. This is why mindfulness is so powerful. Mindfulness is the practice of watching the artist at work. You step back and see the brushstrokes. Ah, here comes the thought of failure. Here comes the story of rejection. Here comes the judgment. When you recognize these as brushstrokes, not facts, something changes. You are no longer trapped inside the painting. You realize, this is just a story my mind is painting right now. I don't have to believe it. Consider another example. At work, your boss gives you critical feedback. Instantly, the mind might paint a dark canvas. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. They hate me. Stress, shame, maybe even despair. But if you notice, if you pause, you can repaint. This is a chance to learn. This feedback can help me grow. It's not a judgment of my worth, just guidance. The same words, completely different story. This does not mean we should lie to ourselves or sugarcoat every situation. It means we learn to see clearly that our thoughts are interpretations, not absolute truth. They are colors on a canvas, not the canvas itself. When you know this, you reclaim your freedom. You can choose different colors. You can shift the painting. The Buddha often compared the mind to a monkey restless, jumping from branch to branch, grabbing whatever catches its attention. If you let the monkey run wild, it will create chaos. But with gentle training, the monkey can become calm, even wise. In the same way, the mind can paint nightmares or masterpieces. The key is awareness. Imagine sitting in a room with a projector. The projector beams moving images on the wall, and you forget it is just light. You think the movie is real. You cry, you laugh, you panic. But then you notice the projector, and suddenly you understand. It's only images, not solid reality. Thoughts are like that. They project onto your life, and if you forget they are just thoughts, you suffer. But if you notice, if you say, here is just another projection, you free yourself. This truth can change daily life in simple but profound ways. Take relationships. A partner doesn't text back quickly. The mind paints. They must be losing interest. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they don't care anymore. Anxiety grows. But pause, see the brush at work. Perhaps the truth is simple. They are busy, or their phone battery died. A story you painted created unnecessary pain. When you notice that, you soften. You wait with more patience. You allow space for truth instead of clinging to assumption doubt or consider health. A headache appears. The mind paints. What if it's serious? What if something is terribly wrong? What if I'm in danger? Fear escalates quickly. But step back. It is just a sensation, just tightness in the body. Maybe it's dehydration. Maybe it will pass. By noticing the story your mind paints, you suffer less. The beauty of this practice is that you don't have to stop the mind from painting. You only have to recognize the painting as painting. You don't have to silence thoughts. You only have to see them as thoughts. When you do, you gain choice. You can let the dark colors fade, and you can pick up brighter ones. And here's the deeper promise. Once you realize you are not the painting, you discover you are the canvas itself. The canvas is vast, open, untouched by any brushstroke. Thoughts, emotions, moods come and go, but the awareness behind them, the canvas, remains clear and spacious. This is your true nature. Pause now and feel this. Imagine your mind as a sky. Thoughts are clouds drifting through, sometimes dark and stormy, sometimes light and beautiful. But the sky itself is never damaged by them. The sky remains open, limitless, untouched. In the same way, your awareness remains whole, no matter what story the mind paints. To live from this awareness is to be free. Let's continue with the image of the sky and the clouds. Most of us live as if we are the clouds pushed by the wind, change in shape, dark one moment and light the next. When anger arises, we say, I am angry. When sadness comes, we say, I am broken. But what if you are not the cloud at all? What if you are the sky, vast and unchanging, allowing every cloud to appear and disappear? This is the shift that changes everything. You are not the storm. You are the space in which the storm passes. Think about your daily routine. You wake up, and immediately the mind starts painting. I didn't sleep enough. This day is going to be hard. I can't handle this. Already the canvas is filled with dark colors. And because of that painting, you carry heaviness into every interaction. But imagine waking and noticing the first brush stroke. Ah, here's a thought that today will be hard. Instead of believing it, you smile gently, let it pass, and choose another color. I will take this day step by step. I am here, and that is enough. The outer events may be the same, but the inner painting shifts, and so does your experience. This is why the mind is called a masterpiece. It has the power to transform reality, not by changing external facts, but by changing the lens through which you see them. And this power can be cultivated. Like an artist learning to use light and shadow, you can train the mind to paint with wisdom instead of fear, with compassion instead of judgment, with calm instead of panic. Let's look at another example. Two students take the same exam and both receive a failing grade. One paints the story, I am stupid. I'll never succeed. I'm worthless. Shame and despair consume them. The other paints, I didn't prepare well this time. Now I know where I need to improve. This is not the end. Instead of despair, they feel motivation. Same event, different paintings. And the long-term consequences are enormous. One path leads to paralysis, the other to resilience. Or imagine a parent dealing with a child's tantrum. Without awareness, the mind paints. This child is ungrateful. I can't handle this. I am failing as a parent. Anger rises, words are shouted. Both parent and child suffer. But with mindfulness, the painting shifts. This is just a child expressing frustration. It's temporary. I can breathe, stay calm, guide them through it. The situation softens. The bond strengthens. Again, the difference is not in the event, but in the mind's masterpiece dot. So how do we practice this in real life? Start with small steps. When a strong thought or emotion arises, label it gently. This is anger. This is fear. This is joy. Notice how the labeling creates distance. You stop being the emotion and become the observer of it. From that space, you can decide, do I want to keep painting this story, or do I want to choose another color? Meditation is one of the most effective ways to train this skill. When you sit quietly and watch your breath, thoughts will appear. The mind will say, this is boring. I should be doing something else. I'm not good at this. Instead of fighting, you simply watch. You notice the brushstroke. You let it pass. Slowly, you realize the power of choice. You realize you are not the painting. And the more you practice, the more this awareness flows into daily life. Here's a metaphor. Imagine standing at a train station. Trains arrive constantly, some labeled fear, some anger, some joy. Normally, you jump on every train without question, carried away for hours. But with mindfulness, you stand on the platform. You see the trains come and go, and you choose which to board. Some trains you let pass entirely. This is the freedom of awareness, not to stop thoughts, but to stop being dragged by them. The Buddha taught that the mind can be our greatest enemy or our greatest friend. When untrained, it creates suffering. When trained, it becomes the path to liberation. This is not mystical, it is practical. Every moment you pause, breathe, and notice the story your mind is painting, you weaken the old patterns of reactivity and strengthen new patterns of clarity. Bit by bit, you sculpt a mind that works for you, not against you. This truth also reshapes how we relate to others. Often, we mistake our mental painting of someone for who they really are. We see a colleague and instantly think, they are arrogant. They are unfriendly. That story colors every interaction, even when it may not be true. But if we recognize, this is my mind's painting, not absolute reality, we create space to see them fresh, to meet them as they are in this moment. Relationships transform when we stop confusing our painting with the person. Think about conflict. A partner says something harsh, and your mind paints, they don't love me. They never understand me. They always hurt me. But if you notice the brush at work, you can pause, breathe, and instead ask, what are they really feeling? What do they need right now? Instead of deepening the wound, you open a door to understanding. The painting changes, and so does the relationship. The ultimate gift of this practice is that it reveals the mind's limitless creativity. Once you are free from being trapped in dark paintings, you can paint new possibilities, hope, compassion, courage. Life becomes less about reacting and more about creating. Even in difficulty, you can choose colors that bring strength. Even in loss, you can choose brushstrokes of meaning. This is not denial. It is artistry. It is using the masterpiece of the mind to shape a life of wisdom and peace. So here is a practice you can carry forward. At least once each day, pause and ask yourself, what painting is my mind creating right now? Notice the colors fear, joy, judgment, hope. Then ask, do I want to keep this painting? Or do I want to choose another? With time, this question becomes second nature. And every time you choose wisely, you reclaim freedom. Remember, you are not trapped in the picture your mind paints. You are the artist. You hold the brush. And deeper still, you are the canvas vast, unbroken, untouched by any color. Clouds come and go, storms rise and fall, paintings change again and again. But the sky remains, the canvas remains, and so do you clear, whole, free. Beneath all the noise of daily life, there is something in you that has never been touched by stress, fear, or regret. Imagine digging beneath layers of earth and stone until you reach a hidden spring pure, clear, unbroken. No matter how polluted the surface water becomes, that underground spring remains clean. In the same way, deep beneath your shifting thoughts and moods lies a core of luminous peace. The Buddha called this Buddha nature. Other traditions call it the soul, the true self, or simply awareness. Whatever the name, it is the untouched center of who you are. The challenge is that most of us live on the surface. We live among the waves of anxiety, the storms of self-criticism, the endless churn of I should have done this, or what if that happens? We forget that the ocean has a depth. But the truth is, no matter how high the waves, the depths remain calm. And those depths are always available to you. Think about the last time you felt completely overwhelmed, perhaps during an argument, or while facing financial stress, or lying awake at night. In those moments, the mind feels like a tornado, spinning faster and faster. Yet even then, if you pause and take a slow, steady breath, you touch something quieter. Maybe just for a second, but it's there, a glimpse of stillness beneath the storm. That stillness is not created. It does not depend on circumstances. It is your natural state, temporarily hidden by mental weather. Imagine the sky. Clouds pass through it, sometimes light and fluffy, sometimes dark and violent. Thunder shakes, lightning strikes, but none of it damages the sky itself. The sky is spacious, open, untouched. In the same way, your emotions, no matter how intense, cannot stain the purity of your deepest being. You may feel broken, but you are not broken. You may feel lost, but the core of you has never been lost. Let's make this practical. Suppose you make a mistake at work. Immediately, The voice in your head screams, I am incompetent. I am worthless. Everyone sees me as a failure. The storm rages. But pause. Notice the thoughts. Notice the emotions. And then, notice the awareness that is noticing. That awareness is not broken. It is calm, steady, spacious. It is the sky watching the clouds. The mistake happened. The feelings are real, but your core remains untouched. And from that place, you can respond with clarity rather than panic. This untouched center is not distant or mystical. It shows itself in small, ordinary moments. A quiet walk in the park where, for a few minutes, you feel at ease. The smile of a child that melts your defenses. The warmth of the sun on your face when you stop rushing. These are glimpses of your true nature shining through. You don't have to invent it. You only have to remember it. The problem is that we forget again and again. We identify with the storms instead of the sky. We say, I am my anxiety. I am my depression. I am my anger. And by believing this, we suffer more. But awareness practice invites us to shift. Instead of saying, I am sad, try, sadness is here. Instead of, I am angry, say, anger is passing through. This small change of language points to a massive truth. You are not the storm. You are the space in which the storm comes and goes. Think of a mirror. People may stand before it, some beautiful, some troubled, some joyful, some grieving. The mirror reflects them all, yet is never stained by any reflection. It does not become ugly when reflecting ugliness. It does not become broken when reflecting pain. The mirror remains clear. You are like that mirror. Thoughts, emotions, experiences arise and pass, but your deepest awareness remains untainted. Another way to see it. Imagine a vast mountain. Clouds may cover it, storms may batter it, snow may bury it, but the mountain stands solid, unmoved. Deep within you is that mountain. When life shakes, when emotions roar, you can lean into that mountain's strength. You may wobble, but your core remains steady. Here's a practice you can try. When stress feels overwhelming, close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart, the other on your belly. Take 3 slow breaths. As you breathe, repeat silently. Beneath this storm, there is stillness. Beneath this noise, there is peace. Feel it, even if faintly. The storm may not vanish, but you will remember the depth that carries you through. This untouched center is not about escaping life. It is not about pretending problems don't exist. Bills must still be paid. Relationships must still be navigated. Bodies still age and ache. But when you live from your center, you are no longer defined by these conditions. You act from stability, not panic. You face challenges without losing yourself. In fact, living from this center makes you more capable, not less. Think of a firefighter walking into flames. If they panic, they collapse. If they remain steady, they save lives. Your life may not involve burning buildings, but the principle is the same. Steadiness allows skillful action. The untouched center is the well of steadiness within you. Pause here. Take one deep breath. Imagine roots growing from your feet into the earth, anchoring you. Whatever storm you are facing today, fear, stress, doubt, let it be like passing weather. Trust that beneath it, your mountain remains. Trust that beneath it, your spring of peace still flows. This is the promise of the untouched center. You are not defined by your worst day. You are not destroyed by your hardest moment. You are more than your pain, more than your fear, more than your past. Deep inside, there is something unbreakable, and the more you remember it, the freer you become. Let us go deeper into this hidden truth. No matter what happens on the surface of your life, your core remains whole. You may feel broken, but you are not broken. You may feel stained by guilt, shame, or failure, but your essence has never been stained. Imagine the deepest part of the ocean. Storms rage above, waves crash violently, but miles below, the water is calm, still, undisturbed. That depth is your untouched center dot. Most of us forget this because we live at the surface level. We chase approval. We fear judgment. We replay regrets. We anticipate disasters. These surface storms convince us that we are fragile, damaged, incomplete. But if you stop and drop into the depth of your being, you discover something astonishing. There is a peace in you that no insult, no mistake, no loss can ever erase. Think of a child. When a child throws a tantrum, crying and screaming, a loving parent knows this is not the whole child. This is just a passing storm. The love remains steady, even when the behavior is messy. In the same way, your untouched center holds your passing emotions with unconditional love. You may rage, you may despair, you may collapse, but beneath it all, your core does not waver. This truth is not abstract. You can feel it. For example, think of the worst mistake you have ever made. Recall the shame, the regret, the heavy self-blame. Now notice, you are here. You survived. The shame passed. The regret softened. The awareness that noticed it all is still present, still intact. That awareness is your untouched center. It has carried you through every storm so far, and it will carry you through the ones yet to come. Let's ground this with a real-life scenario. Imagine someone loses their job. On the surface, panic takes over. I am worthless without my work. My life is falling apart. The storm is fierce. But if that person learns to rest in the untouched center, something shifts. They say instead, yes, this loss is painful. Yes, fear is here. But deep inside, I am still whole. My worth is not destroyed by this circumstance. From that place of steadiness, they can face the challenge with resilience, creativity, even hope, or consider grief. Losing someone you love can feel unbearable, as if your world has collapsed. On the surface, the waves crash endlessly, but those who touch their untouched center often describe a paradoxical peace beneath the grief. They cry, they ache, they mourn, but at the same time, they sense a deeper presence holding them. This presence does not erase pain, but it keeps them from being drowned by it. It is the quiet knowing, even in sorrow, I am not destroyed. One of the most powerful metaphors the Buddha offered is the sky. Clouds of anger, fear, sadness drift through, but the sky itself is never harmed. In the same way, your true nature is not harmed by the emotions that move through you. This recognition is liberation. It means you are free to experience every emotion fully: joy, sorrow, anger, delight, without being defined by any of them. Try a simple practice right now. Close your eyes. Bring to mind a recent worry. Notice how it feels in your body-tight chest, racing thoughts, maybe tension in your stomach. Now say silently, worry is here. Not, I am worry, but worry is here. Feel the difference. By naming it as something passing through, you reconnect with the awareness that notices. That awareness is untouched. It is steady while worry comes and goes. This practice can transform relationships too. Suppose someone insults you. The surface reaction is to defend, to attack back. But if you rest in your untouched center, you realize, their words pass through me like clouds. They cannot damage my sky. You may still respond. You may set boundaries, but you do so from calm, not from fear. This is true strength, not the strength of domination, but the strength of stability. Living from your untouched center does not mean becoming passive or detached. It means becoming free. When you are no longer enslaved by every storm, you can act wisely. You can set boundaries without hatred. You can face failure without collapse. You can meet joy without clinging. You can live fully because you are rooted in something unshakable. Here's another image. Imagine a clear glass of water. Drop in some dirt and stir it. The water looks muddy, but set it down, let it rest, and the dirt settles. The clarity returns. In the same way, your untouched center is always clear. The turbulence of thoughts may cloud it temporarily, but if you rest, breathe, and wait, the clarity reveals itself again. You don't have to create it. You only have to remember it. Think about how differently life feels with this perspective. Stress no longer defines you. It is just a passing cloud. Failure no longer destroys you. It is just a wave that eventually dissolves. Even success is seen differently, not as proof of worth, but as another passing form. You stop clinging. You stop resisting. You begin to trust life as it flows, knowing that beneath it all, you are steady. This truth is not meant to be believed blindly. It is meant to be experienced. Every time you pause and touch the stillness beneath the storm, you confirm it for yourself. Every time you breathe and notice awareness holding your emotions, you taste the untouched center. And the more you practice, the more available it becomes, not just in meditation, but in traffic, in meetings, in arguments, in heartbreak. So here's your invitation. The next time you feel overwhelmed, whisper to yourself, this storm is not the whole of me. Beneath this, I am still whole. Let those words anchor you. Feel the mountain beneath the clouds. Feel the sky above the storm. Feel the spring beneath the surface. And remember, you are not broken. You are complete. This is the gift of the untouched center. Not escape from life, but freedom within it. Not perfection of circumstances, but unshakable peace beneath them. To live from this center is to discover that nothing, no mistake, no loss, no fear can take away your deepest truth. You are whole. You are luminous. You are free. Life often feels like a tug of war between extremes. On one side, there is the pressure to achieve, to push harder, to keep climbing no matter the cost. On the other side, there is the temptation to collapse, to give up, to drown in despair or distraction. We swing back and forth between overexertion and exhaustion, between control and chaos, between clinging and avoidance. And in this swinging, peace feels impossible. The Buddha offered a radical solution, the middle way. He compared it to tuning a musical instrument. If the string is too tight, it snaps. If it is too loose, it makes no sound. Only when the tension is balanced does the instrument play beautifully. In the same way, when our effort is too rigid, life becomes brittle. When it is too slack, life becomes dull. But when balanced, life becomes harmonious. Think about your own patterns. Maybe you push yourself at work, chasing perfection, terrified of failure. The string is too tight, you burn out, you collapse. Or maybe you avoid responsibility, drifting aimlessly, afraid to commit. The string is too loose, you feel empty, restless, unsatisfied. Both extremes bring suffering. Balance brings freedom. This principle applies everywhere. Take ambition. Strive too hard, and ambition becomes obsession. Relationships break, health deteriorates, joy disappears. Strive too little, and life stagnates, potential wasted, purpose ignored. The middle way is not mediocrity. It is not doing just enough. It is the art of wise effort, giving your best without clinging to outcomes, working diligently without burning yourself away. Consider love. At one extreme, love becomes clinging, grasping tightly, fearing loss, demanding constant reassurance. At the other extreme, love becomes avoidance, walls built high, intimacy feared, vulnerability denied. Neither extreme allows true connection. The middle way is love rooted in freedom, caring deeply without possession, offering affection without fear, allowing both closeness and space. Balance also applies to honesty. Too rigid, and honesty becomes cruelty using truth as a weapon to hurt. Too loose, and honesty becomes dishonesty hiding, avoiding, betraying trust. The middle way is clear speech with compassion, truth that heals instead of harms. The same is true for self-discipline. Too strict, and discipline becomes punishment. You never rest, never forgive yourself, never feel enough. Too lax, and discipline dissolves into chaos. You drift, procrastinate, abandon growth. The middle way is steady discipline with kindness, showing up each day, but forgiving yourself when you stumble. Think of a candle flame. Too much wind, it burns out. Too little air, it suffocates. With balance, it shines steadily, giving light and warmth. Your life is that flame. Without balance, you burn out or fade away. With balance, you illuminate the path for yourself and others. Let's bring this into a real-world example. Imagine a young professional determined to succeed. They work 14 hours a day, skip meals, sacrifice relationships. At first, they feel powerful. But soon, exhaustion sets in, resentment builds, joy disappears. The string is too tight. Eventually, they crash. Now imagine the opposite. Another person drifts, avoids effort, spends hours numbing with entertainment. Their string is too loose. They feel restless, unsatisfied, without direction. Both suffer. The wisdom of balance is the middle path. Working diligently, resting honestly, nurturing both ambition and being balance is not a fixed point, it is a living process. Like riding a bicycle, you don't find balance once and keep it forever. You adjust moment by moment, leaning slightly left, then right, staying upright through continuous awareness. The same is true in life. Some days require more effort, some more rest. Some moments require speaking firmly, others listening quietly. The art is to notice the extremes and return to center again and again. This is why mindfulness is essential. Without awareness, we slip into extremes unconsciously. We don't notice the string tightening until it snaps. We don't notice it loosening until there is no music left. But with awareness, we sense the imbalance early. We feel the stress building and choose to pause. We feel the laziness creeping and choose to act. Balance becomes possible only when we are awake to the present moment. Pause here and reflect. Where in your life is the string too tight? Where is it too loose? Is there an area where you push too hard, demanding perfection, refusing rest? Is there another where you avoid effort, escaping, numbing, hiding from responsibility? Awareness of these extremes is the first step toward balance. Balance is not weakness. It is strength refined. It is the courage to walk the middle path when the world shouts for extremes. It is the wisdom to say, I will work hard, but not destroy myself. I will love deeply, but not lose myself. I will be honest, but not cruel. I will rest, but not waste my life. This balance is not easy, but it is freedom. The middle way is the art of harmony. It is not about choosing comfort, but about choosing clarity. It is not about avoiding responsibility, but about carrying it wisely. It is not about denying ambition, but about channeling it without being consumed. It is living like a musician tuning a string not too tight, not too loose, but just right, so the song of your life can be played beautifully. Let us continue with this image of the musician tuning a string. The wisdom of balance is not about being ordinary or lukewarm. It is about finding the point where life becomes music. Too much tension, and the sound is harsh. Too little, and there is silence. With balance, there is harmony. And harmony is not bland. It is beautiful, strong, and a live dot think about how balance applies to emotions. At one extreme, emotions control us completely. Anger flares and we lash out. Fear arises and we shrink back. Desire burns and we chase recklessly. At the other extreme, we deny emotions, suppressing them, pretending we are unaffected. Both extremes cause harm. The middle way is different. It allows emotions to be felt fully, but not to rule us. We acknowledge anger without becoming violence. We acknowledge fear without becoming paralyzed. We acknowledge desire without becoming enslaved. Balance means neither drowning in emotions nor banishing them. It means meeting them. With wisdom. This principle also reshapes how we pursue happiness. Modern culture tells us, chase pleasure, avoid pain. But chasing pleasure endlessly leads to addiction, emptiness. Avoiding pain endlessly leads to fragility, disconnection. Balance means embracing both, the sweet and the bitter, the joy and the sorrow, as parts of the same song. Just as music needs both high and low notes, life needs both light and shadow. To deny one is to lose the fullness of living. Consider relationships again. At one extreme, we demand too much. We want constant attention, constant proof of love, constant reassurance. The relationship suffocates. At the other extreme, we give too little. We avoid vulnerability, we withhold affection, we build walls. The relationship withers. Balance is love with openness and freedom. Caring deeply, but not clinging. Giving space, but not withdrawing. Love, when balanced, becomes a source of strength. Instead of a battlefield of fear. Balance also transforms how we see success. At one extreme, success is measured only by external achievement, money, status, recognition. People at this extreme often sacrifice health, relationships, and inner peace. At the other extreme, success is abandoned altogether, dismissed as meaningless, leading to apathy and stagnation. The middle way says, pursue growth, but with awareness. Let success be measured not only by what you gain, but by who you become, by the kindness you embody, by the peace you cultivate. This balance even applies to spirituality. At one extreme, people become fanatical, rigid, dogmatic, clinging to beliefs as weapons. At the other extreme, people dismiss spirituality entirely, mocking, rejecting, refusing to explore. The middle way invites us to walk a path of practice without fanaticism, of openness without nihilism. We practice sincerely, but gently. We seek wisdom, but we don't force it. We honor teachings, but we test them in our own lives. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The winds are strong, rain lashes, thunder shakes the sky. Most of us try to fight the storm or run from it. But the middle way is standing calmly in the center, neither resisting nor fleeing, but allowing the storm to pass. Balance does not mean the storm disappears. It means we learn to meet the storm with steadiness. Let's bring this to an everyday scene. A parent works long hours, trying to provide for the family. If they push too hard, ignoring rest, ignoring time with loved ones, they burn out and the family suffers. If they slack too much, avoiding responsibility, refusing effort, the family also suffers. But when they live in balance, working with diligence, resting with honesty, showing up with love, the whole household thrives. This is wisdom in action. Balance is not a static state. It is dynamic, alive. Think of walking a tightrope. Every step requires small corrections, constant awareness. In the same way, balance in life requires ongoing mindfulness. We will tip toward extremes again and again. That is not failure. The practice is to notice, to return, to adjust. Balance is a dance, not a destination. The Buddha described balance as the middle way between indulgence and denial, between obsession and neglect. But it is not just about avoiding harm. It is about discovering joy. True joy arises not from swinging wildly, but from living in harmony with life. It is the joy of eating enough but not too much, of resting deeply but not lazily, of working wholeheartedly but not desperately. It is the joy of living in rhythm with reality. Here is a practice. The next time you feel pulled to an extreme, pause and ask, what does balance look like here? If you are about to overwork, balance may mean closing the laptop and resting. If you are about to procrastinate, balance may mean taking one small step forward. If you are about to lash out in anger, balance may mean breathing before you speak. If you are about to withdraw in silence, balance may mean sharing honestly but gently. Balance is not abstract, it is practical, moment by moment. And here is the deeper gift. Balance is not only about you, it is about how you move in the world. When you live in balance, you create balance for others. Your steadiness calms those around you. Your kindness invites kindness. Your clarity dissolves confusion. Just as one tuned string allows the whole instrument to play well, your balance helps the whole community find harmony. As we close this chapter, remember the image of the tuned string. Life will always pull you toward extremes, but you have the wisdom to return again and again to the middle path. This is not weakness. It is mastery. It is the strength to walk calmly while others run to the edges. It is the wisdom to live with effort, but without obsession, with love, but without clinging, with honesty, but without cruelty. This is the wisdom of balance, the art of harmony, the courage of moderation, the beauty of the middle path. And when you live this way, your life becomes music, not a harsh noise, not an empty silence, but a steady song that brings peace to you and to those around you. We have walked through a long journey together. We began with pain, the relentless stress of modern life, the endless race that feels like it has no finish line. We saw how the weight of existence presses on so many shoulders, how loneliness and exhaustion eat away at our hearts. But we did not stop there. We moved through promise and discovery, the illusion of I, the reality of interconnection, the artistry of the mind, the untouched center of peace, and the wisdom of balance. Each chapter has been like a lamp, illuminating a part of the path. Now, as we close, we gather the light into one steady flame. The first truth is simple. Suffering is real. It is not weakness to admit it. It is not failure to feel it. To be human is to ache. The Buddha called this dukkha, unease, the dissatisfaction, the sense that life never quite fits. And yet, the deeper truth is also simple. Suffering is not the whole story. It is not the end. It is the beginning of awakening. When you turn toward your pain instead of running from it, you discover wisdom hidden inside it. Pain becomes a teacher. Fear becomes a doorway. Loneliness becomes an invitation to connection. We discovered that this self we protect so fiercely is not as solid as it seems. The glass statue of I can shatter with one insult, one failure, one loss. But when we see through the illusion, we are free. We realize we are not the fragile statue. We are the space in which experiences rise and fall. And in that freedom, compassion blooms. If my I is not solid, neither is yours. We are not two rigid monuments colliding. We are two rivers flowing, two clouds drifting, two jewels reflecting each other. From there, we opened to interwoven reality. We saw that nothing exists alone, not the apple, not the wave, not you, not me. Every breath is a gift of trees and oceans. Every meal is the labor of countless hands. Every joy we feel ripples outward. Every harm we do echoes back. Interdependence is not a theory. It is the fabric of existence. And when we see it, gratitude awakens. Humility awakens. We realize we are never truly alone, and that what we give to others, we also give to ourselves. We then explored the mind itself, this powerful artist painting our world. We saw how two people can face the same event and live in two different universes, depending on the story the mind tells. And we learned the secret. You are not the painting, not even the painter. You are the canvas, vast and unbroken. Thoughts are brushstrokes, emotions are colors, but the canvas remains whole. This discovery is liberation, because it means you can choose your colors, soften your brush, and create a masterpiece of peace. Beneath it all, we uncovered the untouched center, that luminous core that has never been harmed by storms, never been stained by mistakes. The mountain beneath the clouds, the spring beneath the earth, the sky beyond the weather. This center is who you truly are, unbroken, complete, luminous. To remember this is to rest. To rest is to heal. Finally, we arrived at balance, the art of the middle way. Not clinging, not rejecting. Not too tight, not too loose. Balance in effort, in love, in speech, in discipline. Balance in joy and in sorrow. Balance is not mediocrity. It is harmony. It is the wisdom to live like a tuned string, producing music instead of noise. It is the courage to walk the middle path when the world urges extremes. Now, as we conclude, let us weave these truths into one lived reality. The pain is real, but so is the promise. The illusion is powerful, but so is awareness. The web of interconnection is fragile, but so is kindness, and kindness strengthens it. The mind can trap us, but it can also free us. The storms can shake us, but the center remains untouched. The world pulls us to extremes, but balance brings us home. So what do we do with this journey? We live it in small, practical ways. By pausing to breathe before reacting. By saying thank you to the unseen hands that support us. By forgiving ourselves when we stumble. By setting boundaries with kindness. By remembering that storms pass, that we are the sky, that peace is already within us, that you do not need to wait for the perfect moment. You do not need to move to a monastery. You do not need to change your life overnight. You only need to remember, again and again, that freedom is possible right here, in the middle of your ordinary, messy, beautiful life. Every breath is a doorway. Every moment is a chance to return home to yourself. So take this journey with you. Carry it into the noise of the city, into the quiet of your bedroom, into the challenges of work and family. Let it remind you that you are not broken, you are not alone, you are not trapped. You are whole. You are part of a great web. You are the sky itself. You are balance. You are peace. And as you live from this place, you become a light for others. Your steadiness calms their storms. Your kindness strengthens their web. Your presence reminds them of their own untouched center. This is the quiet revolution the Buddha dreamed of, not escape from the world, but transformation within it. Not perfection, but compassion. Not distance, but connection. As we close, breathe deeply. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your heart beating. Feel the simple truth. You are here, and you are already enough. The journey is not about becoming someone else. It is about remembering who you have always been. The pain is real. The promise is real. And now, the path is yours to walk.